policy, preparing for a second day of strike action. I should just mention, Christine, because you weren't here at the beginning, and Radio 4 are actually recording this meeting, but I'm sure that isn't going to make the slightest difference to what you're going to tell us.
Thank you very much. My press office did tell me that. Look at this wonderful fact. That won't go down very well on radio, will it? It's like, just a hint of suffragette about it. I really like it. We decided to have these the 30th of November because T-shirts in November are not so good, except global warming is causing it to be spring when it should be winter. But anyway, thank you very much for being here tonight. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I can tell you there are meetings like this going on all over the country, all over England, Wales, Scotland, in Northern Ireland. And I'm going to concentrate on numbers in my speech. Some big numbers, some small numbers. A relatively big number, though, for the purpose of this meeting is 30, which is what you heard earlier. There are now 30 unions going to take strike action. And frankly, it's, trying to remember them all, unless you've got the list in front of you, is very, very hard. There are some unions taking action, of which you've probably never heard. There's one called the Association of Heads and Deputies in Scotland. It's probably a very tiny union, but the fact is they will be on strike. The Scottish Deputy Teachers Association, EIS, you've probably heard of them, they're the big teachers union in Scotland. And then, obviously, Unison, GFB, Unite, ourselves in the NUT, UTU, ECS, ATL, but honestly, you can barely remember them all. ATL is one of my favourites, though, because, of course, having never taken any strike action in the whole 127 years of their history, they've finally got a taste for it. So they're out with us in June, and now they'll be out with us in November. And the new aspect for us, actually aspect is going to be out. Anyway, the new thing for us is that the National Association of Head Teachers, again, not one of what you call the traditionally militant unions, will be out with us on that day. So that actually 30 is a relatively big number in terms of this. Here's another big number, 3 million. The strike action on November the 30th could be up to 3 million public sector workers. And of course, now that the Police Federation are on our side, and they know how badly they're going to be done, the police estimate will probably be 3.5 million. But the fact is, and we will never know, we will never really know. The Daily Mail will say there's, 2,000, and the rest of us will know that there were a very large number of people out. And here's another number. Here's another very, very big number. This number is 46.4 billion. What is that number, I hear you ask? Well, that is how many pounds have been paid into the Teachers' Pension Scheme, admittedly since 1933, but £46.4 billion more have been paid into the Teachers' Pension Scheme than have been paid out to pensioners. How can that happen? Well, it's to do with pension holidays, or to do with the fact that when there was more money in the scheme, the government simply put the money in the exchequer and used it for other purposes. And the idea of a pension holiday, of course, is not just something to do with the public sector. We know that in the private sector, that happened all the time. And that's why, from a decade ago, when there were well over half of all private sector workers in really decent pension schemes, it's now well below a third. So when the sun was shining and they said, we won't put any money in the scheme, the stock market was going up through the roof, they said, that's fine, we won't invest in this. Now, of course, the upshot of that is that there are precious few pension schemes for private sector workers. But frankly, even where they've got the money, and I think I'm right in saying, I have to say that because I'm being recorded, I think I'm right in saying that the British Airways scheme and the Ford scheme used to be upgraded in line with RPI. 3 letters with which we're familiar, and they've changed those to CPI. Why have they done that? Not because they can't afford it, but because they've seen that happening to public sector workers, and they think, well, if they can get away with it in the public sector, that we obviously can get away with it in the private sector. Now, here's a relatively small number. You've already heard it once this evening. It's 102. It's the amount of the state pension. And when you know that that is below the poverty line of even the government, and that's how much state pensioners get, it makes you think, what kind of society is this? Well, it's a very, very, very unequal society. If you read The Guardian today, as some of you might have done, you might have noticed this story. This woman is actually, she's not a woman, that woman, where she's on the front, she's a dinner lady, and she gets paid £7 an hour. And Richard Cousins, who runs lots of lots of catering in a group called Compass. He gets paid £4.4 million a year. So he gets paid the same as 350 dinner ladies, and I'm sure he's a lot less used to any society than any dinner lady. Lots of people want to say things. So that's so the only other number I'm going to give you is 3, and this is a very small number, and that is how many countries in Europe have a worse state pension than we do. They are Cyprus, Latvia, and Estonia. Now these are quite small countries that don't have a very big economy, I don't think. Whereas we are, I mean Mark Doctor and I disagree about this. We are either the 5th or the 6th biggest economy in the world. So the fact that we're ranking our pensions at around Cyprus, Latvia and Estonia seems to me another aspect of just what an unequal society we are. So when we say, so our strike action, you know, we balance our members in the MUT, we balance it explicitly about pensions. And that is the focus of our action on November the 30th. But it isn't just public sector pensions, for all the reasons I've just given. It's also private sector pensions, because as colleagues at PCS are very pleased to tell you, no public sector worker has ever exploited a private sector worker so as to rush down their pension. That hasn't happened. It's actually bankers and other people who've done that to us. So when we're out on November the 30th, we will be public sector workers, but we will be paid, as it says on my badge, fair pensions for all, whether we're public sector workers or private sector workers, and in particular, and I'm very pleased that we're working really closely with the National Pensioners Convention, in particular also for the state pension. Now you've heard a list of the things from other speakers about why it is that we are so concerned, not just about our older people and their pensions, not just about those who work in our pensions, but also our young people. We are actually facing a lost generation. I know it's turning into a cliche, but the fact is it's true. With 20% and some places higher youth unemployment, with a lot to be unknown, with the university fees the way they are, you know, and then they look at people like Richard Cousins earning £4.4 million a year, and they say, you know, what kind of a society is this? I can't get the money to stay in school so that I have the chance of getting a degree and improving my life. So really, you know, we all have to show some solidarity, intergenerational solidarity, intersector solidarity, so that next week is really the very biggest we can possibly make it. And I'm just going to finish on this because lots of people have got things to say. I was at a meeting like this in Leicester earlier this week, and in the way of things, you know, in that obsessive way, I was looking at my BlackBerry during the meeting. And in the middle of the meeting, I got a message from a chum of mine who works for the National Education Association, the biggest teachers' union in America. 3.2 million people are in that union. And he sent me a message to say, hey Christine, on November the 30th at noon in Washington DC, there will be a demonstration of pickets outside the British Embassy in support. I think that's terrific. So they're a bit worried about that. It's probably the staff of the British Embassy who should come back and staff the border for something. You know, the fact is that we stood with those workers in Wisconsin when they were facing all kinds of onslaughts on their trade union rights, and they are now prepared to stand with us. It's not just a British question, although interestingly, and I'll finish on this, right-wing governments elected in Spain, what was the first thing they said? We're not going to touch the pensions. I think they may have learned something. Thank you very much.